the first 10 games of the season, the Bucks had a record of 2-8. They were one of the worst teams in basketball, and it seemed like they had a season that was not going to end well. But if we flash forward just 15 games later, this is a completely different team. They've won 12 out of their last 15 games. The team looks more united. Giannis and Dame are both playing the best they've played, and not to mention, they just won the NBA Cup. Now, I know what a lot of you might be saying. Spex, who gives a about the NBA Cup? Well, in fairness, y'all wanted the regular season to be more entertaining, and that's exactly what the NBA Cup has started to do. And also, I'm not going to act like this wasn't a really competitive series. In fact, let's look at the final 4 teams that made it real quick. The OKC Thunder and the Houston Rockets made it on the western side, and the Bucks and Hawks made it on the eastern side. The Thunder and the Rockets are 2 of the best teams in the Western Conference right now. In fact, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe the Thunder are 1 and the Rockets are 3. Now, over on the East, it's not exactly the best. I mean, Milwaukee, they're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference right now, and I know they're only technically the 5 seed, but again, we have to look at context. They started 2-8, and over their past 15 games, they've went on an insane run. So if the first 10 games of the season never happened, they'd probably be a 1 or 2 seed. And I mean, Atlanta, they're a playoff team. I'm not going to tell you they're great, but they are a playoff team. But let's also not ignore the fact that the Bucks beat the OKC Thunder to win the NBA Cup. And I mean, they blew the shit out of them. Now, granted, I would consider this a pretty low scoring game, but they still did beat them by 15, and there was never really a point in the game where I thought OKC could actually win. Oh, and of course, to no one's surprise, Giannis ended up taking home the MVP of the game. Now, of course, I'm not just making this video because they won the NBA Cup. I mean, for example, let's say Atlanta ended up winning the whole thing. Then they were not going to get a dedicated video to them considering how they've been this year. But Milwaukee, I've had my eye on them for a while. I wanted to talk about them, especially because of what I said earlier in the season. And it turns out, shit, I was wrong. And that whole rule about not talking about a team negatively in the first 20 games, that's probably a rule I should follow a little bit more. But regardless, the concerns that I had, they were very valid to have. But luckily, over the past 15 games, they've looked like a completely different team. It all starts with Giannis. I am not saying that Giannis was bad to start the season. I'd be lying to you if I said that. Hell, I think in that video, Giannis was the only person that I refused to criticize. When I tell you this man has entered a completely different level, I am not joking. Over the past 15 games, this man is averaging 34, 11, 6, 2 on 52% shooting from the field. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just your normal Giannis. This is MVP Giannis right here. We are living in a time where I genuinely believe that Giannis could actually win the MVP again, and the voters would be okay with it. Now, you might be asking, Spex, how come Giannis is doing this well? I mean, what could have possibly changed about his game that is making him more elite? Well, ladies and gentlemen, Giannis has unlocked a skill we didn't think he could ever unlock. Something that has made him a lot scarier of a scorer and a lot more versatile. For the first time in his career, this man is an above average shooter from the mid-range. At the time recording this video, this man is shooting 46.3% from all mid-range jumpers. Now let me give you some context on how good that is. The average NBA player shoots about 41.4% from the mid-range. Of course, that means Giannis is an above average mid-range shooter. And let's be clear, he's not just taking, 1 or 2 shots every now and then. No, this man consistently shoots mid-range jumpers. So of course, it's just common sense, but the more you add to the bag, the better you're going to be as a scorer. Because players used to say, okay, let's just guard Giannis in the paint. However, you cannot do that no more. I mean, to be fair, you are never guarding Giannis in the paint. But now you have to worry about the fact that shit, he might pull up from mid-range and actually make that thing. Now, I would love to tell you that, hey, he's also transitioning into a better three-point shooter. But if I'm being real, this man cannot shoot 3 still. I believe he's shooting like 17% from 3. Now, he's not doing it on the same volume as he has mid-range jumpers, but he's still not that consistent from 3, which I'm not surprised by. Now, like I say in every Bucks related video, I could talk about Giannis for hours, but of course there are other things that we need to discuss about this team. God damn it. I just hit my wrist. Let's try this one more time. Alright, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to hit 25K by the end of the year, and we are surprisingly a lot closer than I thought we would be. So if you've been enjoying the content that I've been dropping over the past couple months, then, you know what I'm saying, subscribe to the channel, man. If you enjoy good NBA content, I can't say no more, y'all. I can't say no more. Y'all ruined the gimmick, bro. Y'all ruined it. But if you guys enjoy great NBA content 3 times a week, then I think this is the perfect channel for you. And if you end up subscribing and you don't like the content, you can unsubscribe at any time. It is totally free to try it out. I will not be disappointed. So with that being said, let's hop right back into the video. I'm not going to clap my hands because I'm afraid I'm going to slap my wrist again. I said it earlier in the season, but Dame was not a problem. Him and Giannis have both been well at the start of the year, and they're still doing well. If I'm being real, this is going to be a short segment because because this is something you guys already know. We already knew that Dame was doing well, and in fact, over the season, I think he's definitely shown that he's going to be a prominent player for this team. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's Damian Lillard. He's obviously a great player, but I think a lot of people expected him to regress over the season, and again, in the first 25 to 30 games, he looks great. He has stayed being a consistent 26 points per game scorer that can shoot from the field and the three. They're not forcing him to be a #1 option. He is someone that can move off the ball and be a guy that can just be himself. And I mean, it's simple basketball math. If the defense is trying to attack Giannis because he's scoring a lot of points, they're not going to put that much pressure on Dame. So of course, Dame is going to have a lot of opportunities to go off when he needs to. Now I want to talk about two players real quick that are never going to get the attention they absolutely deserve, but that's Andre Jackson Jr. and AJ Green. I am not one to give Cock Rivers credit. However, his ability to play these young guys and actually trust them in big moments, you have to respect it. I'm going to start with Andre Jackson real quick, but this man I think is one of the reasons why Milwaukee won this game. I believe that his defense on Shea was something that Shea was not exactly expecting, and I do think that Ajax has actually been a very important part of the defense this year. I do think as time goes on, he's going to develop into a better defender, and overall, he's going to be an important reason why Milwaukee could possibly make the finals. When it comes to AJ Green, this man is modern day Larry Bird. Now, am I saying that because he's white and he's a really good shooter? Yes, possibly yes. But nevertheless, it has not changed the fact that the Bucks are a better three-point shooting team this year. Milwaukee was barely a top 10 team last year in three-point shooting, which is not bad, don't get me wrong. However, this year, they're sitting at number 3. So yeah, I do think AJ Green is playing a role in that. Also, I'm going to give the NBA Cup some props for a second, but it seems like games like this are actually exposing people to these role players and these young guys that usually we wouldn't even get to look at. Now, do you guys remember the biggest problem with Milwaukee that I had about a month ago? My problem was their defense was absolutely garbage. They were rated as one of the worst teams in all of the league when it came to defense, and of course that translated to how bad they truly were. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that, oh, the Bucks now have a top 5 defense in the league. They've changed everything. Obviously, there are still issues. But to go from the bottom 20s in defensive rating to now a little bit above average, sitting at number 13, I think that's something to be proud of. It's guys like Giannis. We obviously know about him. But it's guys like Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez who have really helped out the defense. It's guys like Andre Jackson, who the NBA is not going to talk about, but they're still important. Now, I know there's a lot of basketball left to be played this season, but I do honestly believe that the NBA Cup could mean that Milwaukee could possibly go on a run now. I know we saw what the Lakers did last year. They won the NBA Cup and they completely folded. But I don't think that Milwaukee is going to be in the same situation. For one, we knew that LA was a bad team last year. They were never that good. Milwaukee was supposed to be good. They started off bad, and then again, in the past 15 games, they've played so much better. I do think that this could be a complete momentum swing, and hopefully if the Bucks go on to win the finals, then it does give some validity to this tournament. Because I do think the NBA Cup, in theory, is a great idea. Unfortunately, knowing Adam Silver, he's probably going to find a way to f it up in about 5 years.
Turn on the lights in here, baby.